Hello, and welcome to an RVA Weaver Awards on-demand info session. You can listen to this at a higher playback speed, and hopefully you're relaxing and ready to take in some information about this incredible program that has come to the region. We'll be identifying and funding and celebrating community weavers all across the Richmond region this year and for the next 3 years following. Before we get started, I want to make sure if you didn't get to us through our Engage site you see at the bottom of the screen, we hope that you'll visit that site and make sure you're following this project. By doing that, you'll be able to receive inbox notifications when we add some new feature or celebrate a milestone. We'll only use it for very exclusive announcements, but you wouldn't want to miss out. So thank you so much for taking the time to visit the site and follow the project. Jumping right in, I want to let you know that Plan RVA is your regional planning district commission. We serve 9 localities, and about 1.2 million people. We're thinking you might be one of them. And we are where the region comes together to look ahead. We plan for the future across 4 different domains: transportation, community development and housing, the environment, and emergency preparedness. And we create plans that span 25 years. Some are more near term, like 3-year plans. We look to the future across economic development and our air quality and natural resources. And most recently, we completed the Richmond region's, Greater Richmond's MVA, the market value analysis, telling you details about housing. So there's a lot to learn here. We hope you'll take the time to get to know us a little better. I'm in the middle. My name is Kristen Hott. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at Plan RVA, and I'm lucky enough to serve as Program Lead for the RVA Weaver Awards. On my left, you'll see Martha Schickel, our Executive Director, and she is truly our biggest cheerleader. She's put the green light on us applying to become a community host, and really cares a lot about the power that this award program can bring to the important work that so many are doing. Sydney Edwards is a collaborator on the project, working at the YMCA of Greater Richmond, and she's actually the person who brought the Weaver Award opportunity to us. We're so grateful to you, Sydney. So as I said, we applied to become a community host, and we are lucky enough to be one of 25 across the country. You can see the other organizations listed here. They're all doing the same thing we're doing right now, getting ready, publicizing, telling the community all about these awards, and they're doing it in their personalized way, just like we are. One of those personalized ways was that we applied with a very strong tie to something called RVA Rising. It's an initiative, not an organization, that is really a driving force for collaboration around moving the needle on upward economic mobility in this region. There are 5 drivers that you see in front of you, and we believe that weavers are working in all of these areas. There are more information at rvarising.org, but these 5 organizations have come together to ensure that we are not working in silos, that we're helping support the efforts and sharing a lot of data. So please stop by to learn more at rvarising.org. Weave the Social Fabric Project at the Aspen Institute is really the instigator of this entire national movement called weaving. David Brooks founded it in 2018, and currently Fred Riley is the executive director. There are so many aspects of weaving that are more than the awards that we want you to know about, and we hope you'll take time to find out more about them. But today we're going to talk more about the awards and eligibility and jump right in. So what is weaving? Why weave? Take a moment and you're going to hear from a few folks I just mentioned telling you a little bit more about what the concept is.
You run across these statistics, 54% of Americans say no one knows them well. The number of people who say they have no close friends has quadrupled. You see rising opioid addictions, all these rising social problems.
Our nation right now is being faced with what I would call the silent crisis. And it's the crisis of trust.
But there are people, which we call weavers, who are out there rebuilding trust, rebuilding communities.
We call them weavers because if you think about the idea of weaving something together, and so what our weavers are doing is knitting together, weaving together their communities around the country.
It's easiest when you see it in Watts. There was a woman named Keisha Daniels who runs something called Sisters of Watts. Just a bunch of moms who, when a kid needs some food to take home, they give them a backpack full of food.
One of the weavers that we found really inspiring is Megan Hellberg from Taylor, Nebraska. She's one of the educators who left to go get a college degree in a big city, but decided to come back home because she felt this inkling to come back and help make the place she grew up better.
One of the things that I find true of educators is this skill of seeing others and being deeply seen, something teachers are just good at.
What qualifies a Weaver educators are people who go beyond what the normal day job is.
Turning a classroom into a community is what teachers are all about.
Another inspiring Weaver educator is Heidi Maxey in Hawaii. Heidi saw that the students at her school had a myriad of issues, and through an angel fund started picking up all these projects to help support the needs. So if you go to our high school, you'll see clothing, you'll see a place for young people to decompress, you'll see all these different projects all meeting the needs of her community, which is the school.
Those of us in journalism, we think our job is to explain how bad everything is and not focus on the people who are fixing it. But what gives me hope is the fact that those people are just sprinkled throughout society of all different types and shapes and colors and creeds, and they're out there.
We're so excited for you to hear from them talking more about what weaving is. And clearly it's something that invites people to discover and learn and work side by side. And we know you're thinking of some weavers you know just right about now. Weaving can be informal or informal, and it is characterized by these four qualities: that it's local. It brings people together who share the same neighborhood, the same town or region. It's mutual. It's something where people can give and receive through those gatherings or actions. It's welcoming and inclusive and invites people to join as they are. And it's something that is ongoing. It's not a one and done transactional event or you show up once and you never see one another again. It's something that's continuous and it's centered around relationships. So these awards, we know you're here to learn more about, who's eligible, how much, how do I apply, how do I nominate, how can this be possible maybe? But the awards really are recognition for work that has been happening. So it is not a grant that you are applying for as much as it is a financial award to help you continue doing some of those mutual, welcoming, continuous, and local projects. And the maximum is $5,000. There's a minimum amount. So we hope you won't apply. Try to apply for less than $2,500. And there will be at least 20 awards being given out each year. We say 20 plus because some people might apply for the max. Some people know they only need the min or somewhere in between. And so we'll be able to determine how far our money can go each year. We're showing you examples from Baltimore weavers. You'll see a quick QR code in the corner that if you scan that, you'll be able to see some examples of weavers just up the road from us in Baltimore. We don't quite have any to showcase yet. Next year, we'll be spotlighting the weavers from our own region. But the applications for Richmond, the Richmond region, will open June 1st. Very exciting. And people might be asking, how long will the applications be open? And so June through August, we are opening June 1st. It'll be open roughly 80 days. So until about the 23rd of August, we'll be wrapping up the applications, and there'll be plenty of notifications to make sure everyone gets their information in on time. And you've seen a few examples of some weavers around the country, but we really want to make sure you're clear about who are the folks that are doing weaving? So we're going to play just a little bit of this video because hearing from weavers is so much better than being told.
A weaver is someone who is never kind of content with how things are. They're always looking to make things a little bit better or include a few more people.
How I get to be a weaver is by listening and earning trust to build relationship so that people can allow me into their lives.
I get to weave people with food, music, and art.
I work with youth with mentorship, leadership, and entrepreneurship.
I think every person right now is tasked with answering what does it mean for our country to weave, to come together.
The way we create communities by empowering youth.
I get to weave the LGBTQ people.
I've had more than 14,000 to my own home for dinner in the last 13 years. I want to make sure that as we're weaving, we're looking at who isn't in the weaving, who isn't in the picture.
The social fabric is a complex combination of relationships that can be complementary and contradictory at the same time.
I feel like we're skipping a whole lot of things and going straight to railroading and paving over what's already been done. If this is going to continue, I need to see the folks that we forget up in here. I need to see those who are struggling with AIDS. I need to see all of those people up in here.
Relationships move at the speed of trust, but social change moves at the speed of relationships.
I would like us not to sugarcoat and pretend that there aren't some deep systemic issues that still need to be addressed that aren't going to just be handled by saying, well, we differ.
I sit in this room right here, right now.
So as I said, we're going to play just a little bit of that video, and we'll link to it right underneath this this on-demand video for you to check out the rest of all the videos we're sharing. We want to highlight this one quote that you heard Reverend Bailey, who was present at a community, at a national gathering of weavers, where she said, relationships are built at the speed of trust and social change happens at the speed of relationships. And we bring that to your attention to show and illustrate this concept that weaving is something that happens over time. Relationships aren't built in an hour or an evening or a weekend, or maybe not even a month. They take time. And so change that we want to see happening, a lot of times is happening at the speed of those relationships. Eligibility. So we know you came to find out, well, who's eligible? Am I eligible? I'm thinking of someone. Are they eligible? Well, let's jump right in. There are 4 main criterion for individuals who would apply or be nominated. You just have to live in the Richmond region. You have to be at least 18. And your project cannot support a political party or policy, and it can't restrict participation based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual preference or identity, political party, or faith. But Weaver Awards can go to individuals whose projects serve in a specific affinity group. So you can be someone who is weaving veterans groups or student groups, women's groups. There can be a specific segment of the community, like youth, that you want to be and are working with. But you just can't restrict participation on those affiliations. Similar for groups, but a little bit different. Your organization has to operate in the Richmond region, that map of those 9 localities. And you can't have a budget over $250,000. And so there are some of you out there saying, wow, that's a lot. But we just want to make sure people realize that this is intended for individuals and small groups, organizations that don't really have the time, the resources, or the experience to be applying for grants. And again, these are awards. Same type of criterion. Your project and the work you're doing can't support a political party or policy, and it cannot be exclusive or discriminatory in any way. A highlight is that organizations do not need to have or be seeking 501c3 nonprofit status. You can be an informal group, as we mentioned before, of neighbors, of friends, of people across neighborhoods that are coming together to bring people together and create safe and productive and empowering experiences. Nominations. This is so exciting, everyone. You can nominate as many people as you think are weavers, but you must live or work in the Richmond region. So you can't be from another state or another community outside of our area. Even though you might know about the work, we really want this to be a homegrown process from start to finish. And so you not only have to live here, but you do need to know what the person or the organization's work is. And you can't be their family member or a paid employee, and you can't be a funder of their project or that organization. Everyone needs to be 18 years old. Part of that is because the money we're giving requires folks to be able to receive that. Your nominee will still need to apply So that means when you nominate them, you want to let them know. You don't want them to be in a situation where they didn't know that you were nominating them and they ignored that email because they thought that it wasn't real. So please do make sure you're speaking with anyone that you would nominate. We're also excited that when you nominate someone, you're actually lightening their load. These applications are low lift to start with. There's just 6 questions for applicants. But when you nominate them, you actually take on part of their application process. They have to submit a letter of recommendation or a recommendation. And by doing that, nominating them, you're actually completing that step for them. They won't even see the step that says submit the letter of recommendation because they have been nominated and that will stand in the stead. All right, we're going to have a brief overview of the application. We are not reviewing the questions. We're going to allow those to open June 1st so that everyone has the same time to see what those are. But there are 2 separate forms. When you get to the site, you'll see nominate here and apply here. The applicants can record their responses. So you don't have to type, but if you do choose to type, you can only have 200 words or less per response. So this is not, as we said, a typical application process. We really just want you to tell your story. And if recording something makes it easier for you, we're excited about that. You can also nominate and the applicants can apply in Spanish and they will be translated by Weave the Social Fabric Project team for the reviewers. Pretty important to know. We are going to show you just briefly the nominator questions so that we want people to get started on this. As soon as June 1st comes, we want people nominating folks and again, taking that burden off of them of finding a recommender. So these are the 3 questions you'll be asked, and you can see that it really is just asking you to tell the story and share some examples and to uplift the work they're doing. So you do need to know a lot about it. There's a short video I want to play just as so that you can continue to hear from weavers. And this one is from a mom.
My name is Sharika Valaire. I am the proud mother of 2 young entrepreneurs. I am also the chief executive agent of our newest program, the Young Empowerment Society. There's a great need for entrepreneurship to be taught to our young students. But we took it a step further because of my experience of working in the school. The need for empowering our youth was very important before we asked whether they wanted to be an entrepreneur. We're always pitching the idea, and in fact, I pitched the idea before putting it together. And I talked to a lot of my colleagues and business owners and asked, would they want to mentor a child, just 1 hour a week, from the moment they meet them into the end of their school years, and kind of gave them the idea about what we're doing, and it's like, yes, we would love to be a part of that.
So funds, let's talk about the money. How can we use these funds? You can see it here. We believe that weavers know best how to use the funds to connect their communities, but we do have a few restrictions. The funds for the award cannot be used to re-grant. So you can't take in the money and then have your own granting program where people are applying for the money. You cannot use the money to purchase building supplies or buy large items that aren't for the community use. You can't purchase items that would just be donated to people. So you're not treating it like a credit card to go out and buy items and give away, because of course this is about weaving the community. And so it's about those relationships, remember, about mutuality and welcoming people into a space. It's not about purchasing things for others. Although purchasing things as part of your weaving absolutely is allowed. And of course, tuition and certification fees that benefit you as an individual really aren't, while they may help you become a better human and a better advocate, that's not the way that the funds are intended to be spent. And budget. So we are going to ask weavers to tell us, how are you going to spend the money? And what do you need? This is where you'll tell us the amount you're looking for. And here's an example of what a weaver has submitted in another locality, showing them what they were going to use their $5,000 for. And that's it. So if you're a person who has a grant writer, again, you might want to think about people or individuals or small groups that don't have access to those resources to apply or nominate. But you can see this is almost like a grocery list, a plan for how you're thinking about what you'll spend the money on. Funding and taxes is an important part. Plan RVA cannot and does not provide tax advice, but we are letting you know that in order to receive a Weaver Award, you do have to be able to complete an IRS Form W-9 and provide the banking information so that we can do a direct deposit or electronic payments. So we won't be bringing a big, huge check to your home, and we won't be mailing any check to you. We want to make sure that it's secure and comes into whatever bank account is designated with ease and a receipt. We also want you to know that these funds, because we'll be issuing a 1099, may be considered income for taxable purposes. And so that's part of the consideration for, how you apply and how you think about the money. Again, we can't give tax information, so it's a consideration to think about. And the minimum award is $2,500. So we wouldn't be giving someone $2,000 or $1,500, but they can't be more than $5,000. Here's the timeline for the full cycle, year one. We'll open, as we said, applications June 1. We'll be doing promotion. You'll be nominating. You'll be applying. In September, after the application window closes, there'll be review of each of the applications by a volunteer panel. And then we'll notify Weavers and start beginning to send the funding documents in October. And we'll be organizing a celebration event in November. So by December, everyone should have their funds dispersed. We'll all know who the Weavers are. It'll be an exciting first year, and we'll begin sharing the stories of the incredible work that you all are doing. You'll also be invited as a Weaver to join a national cohort of Weavers, but more importantly, a local RVA group of Weavers. So the 20 plus individuals or small groups that have been selected will be invited to join a cohort that will meet in different ways and receive some additional supports and mentoring. They'll be invited by our guide string ambassadors, community guide string ambassadors, to share more about what their needs and interests are. And there'll be ways for folks to volunteer to be part of that support for the Weavers, including if you want to be a reviewer of applications. Weavers from all over the country are participating in the platform Weave the Social Fabric Project has created called weaving.us. Anyone who's in the sound of my voice can join that and find other Weavers in your community. There's a learning center there where you can learn different skills and information. And of course, all the Weavers and the applicants are invited. Any applicant is invited to join this platform. Here's just a reminder to make sure you're following the project, and we'll be changing out information. And there's a countdown on the site where you actually apply. And then, lastly, I'm going to leave you with another Weaver that you can hear from New Orleans, Brandon Odoms, an incredible project that he did just organically, as you'll hear him say. But I'll close out just by saying, if you have any other specific questions, please reach out to me at Kristen. I'm Kristen Hott, KHOTT @planrva.org, which you'll see on our site. And I encourage you to share, ask questions, and get excited.
My name is Brandon B. Mike Odoms. I'm a visual artist from this great city, New Orleans, and I paint large projects, indoor, outdoor, yeah. First time I felt part of a community, I would say, goes way back to high school. New Orleans has a very specific creative scene, And I went to a school that was specific to art. And so being in that space, I found myself connected with folk purely because we all had this a certain level of talent or a certain level of passion for the arts. So starting off young, that was like my first community that I felt like I made a choice to be a part of. And there wasn't many things that we felt directly reflected what was going on. So I went out and sought these folk, and we bonded and we started to create. And as a result of us creating, we were super connected, almost as a family. Like we spent the next 8 years together creating and building and learning. So that was a more intentional example. A more organic example would be not too long ago, there was a project that became known as Project B, where I went into this abandoned apartment complex and started painting these murals. And at first it was like just me and a few friends that were engaged in this project of just sneaking in this space, painting these large-scale murals. As the images started to circulate, I found that when I went back there were other artists back there as well that were doing the same thing. And they were inspired by either the images that they saw or the opportunity that they saw. And so it became this space where organically this community began to build, where these creatives, these poets, these performers were all back there in these spaces that we were told we weren't supposed to go in, or we were told to be afraid of. But yet here we were making our own space, making our own community, if you will. And it was just exciting to see how something that was supposed to be a reminder of pain and neglect. This was a building that was 8 years neglected after Katrina. So this building as a symbol was supposed to be a reminder of all the things that Katrina did. But here we were in this space, recreating that, performing alchemy, transforming it into something that we felt was more beneficial to us as well as the community directly around it. We saw the value, we were empathetic towards the problem, and we were close enough to the problem, we were proximate to the problem as well. So we couldn't just see it from a distance because this was across the street. You know, this was directly in our eye of sight every day. So because of that, it forced action. And I think with action being connected to empathy, it forced a desire to show people that there was beauty there.